Oh, hey, it's David Heatley here from Cycling Inform, and welcome to this morning's webinar. Now, we're running this during the day at the moment because I've got some commitments. Usually I normally run it Thursday nights, but I've got some commitments tonight, so we're running it through the day. So we're going to trial it out running through the day, see how we go. So I want to thank you for taking the time out today to come along to this webinar, and we've got some fantastic stuff for everybody. So while we're waiting for people to rock into the webinar, just introduce yourself, let me know that you can hear and see me okay. Always like to start these webinars off on a good footing, and if you can't hear or see me, then it's not much use. So just in the chat window, just let me know that you can see and hear me. And if you've got a moment, just let me know where you're calling in from. That'd be fantastic. We get people from all around the world, so hopefully we've got some good people from America. Obviously, this is a bad time for people in the UK, but hopefully we've got some good people in America as well. So just let me know that you can hear and see me in the chat window while we're waiting for people to load up. That'd be fantastic. All right, so April, geez, it doesn't feel like that long ago where I had my webinar in May, where we were just in the start of the COVID-19 crisis, and now I think people are settling in. I certainly, not really much has changed here for me because I work from home. I've been working from home for the last 12 years, and it's pretty much business as usual for us. I'm still catching up with my clients all around the world, people are, in some cases, in a lot of cases actually, people that I'm coaching, because they're focusing on their training, they don't have so many distractions happening, that they're doing super well. But anyway, it looks like we're getting people coming in from all over the place. Look, we've got Ian and Kevin and Steve, John, Stephen, Martin, George. So look, thanks so much for rocking up and coming along to this webinar. It's awesome to have you along. So I'll start sharing my screen and we will get into it. So give us a moment. All right, okay, so April's update. Now I'm running these webinars every month, so this is the April webinar, and normally I talk about specific topics to help you with your performance on the bike, but because COVID-19's been such a major influence in our lives at the moment, I wanted to talk about content related to that because I think it's far more relevant at the moment, and I hope you agree. So all right, so let's get into these slides. Just the first thing is just obviously make sure that you're turn off any distractions. This webinar will require a little bit of bandwidth from your internet service provider, so make sure that the kids are not watching Netflix or you're downloading a massive downloads from the website or whatever. So just free up that bandwidth and make sure that everything's okay, and obviously turn off your mobile phone, and maybe not be too attached to Facebook and those sort of things. And certainly if you're on a low bandwidth computer, it's really important, or a low performance computer, it's really important just to shut down as many applications and stuff, especially things like Skype and Facebook and email messaging and those sort of things that are quite resource hungry, web browsers and those things, so that you can free up. Now, of course, if you do have any issues throughout the webinar, there is a panic button at the top of the screen. Just press that. It'll reset the session and you'll go straight back into the webinar exactly where we are at the moment. So just use that panic button. All right, so right. So first off, I just wanted to thank you for being part of our awesome community. We've been running this for, well, I've been cycle coaching for the last 12 years, and we've built up an amazing community of people. And I'm hoping that sometime in the future we can spend more time getting together. So it's sort of one of my missions to bring more people together. We're running our training camps in Brighton. It gave an opportunity for a lot of our riders to come together at those points, but we're looking for other opportunities in which we can bring our riders together. So anyway, thanks for being part of our community, being part of our community on Facebook, and obviously being part of our community attending these webinars as well. So in this webinar, how to stay motivated when your events are being cancelled, we have spent a lot of time rejuggling our clients' programs because events have been cancelled. I'll go into a little bit of that later on. How to manage your training load to avoid compromising your immune system. What training is working right now to ensure that you come back stronger. This is really important when the restrictions lift, and be ready for your events. We'll talk about an overview of our training service offerings. I'll be talking a little bit about what's happening at the moment, some updates that we've made to our training platforms, and then we'll have the opportunity for people to ask questions. Now, I've tried to cut down the amount of content that I'm providing today so that we can spend a little bit more time answering questions and hopefully not have this webinar go over the hour. So if we can kind of pull it in 40 minutes, I'd be really happy with that, but we'll see how things are going. All right, so why am I doing this? What's my reason? So, you know, this is more than a business for me. I gave up my full-time corporate job 12 years ago to become, because I really wanted to use my passion for cycling and my desire to be fit and healthy to help cyclists get fantastic results. You know, and I love inspiring cyclists. I love inspiring you to invest in your health and go out and have amazing times and amazing experiences on your bike like I have had on my bike. You know, and in doing so, you know, play my part in helping reduce some of the modern lifestyle diseases that are currently affecting our society, obviously excluding COVID-19, things like obesity, diabetes, and cancer. It was interesting, I was on a cruise ship, the Ruby Princess cruise ship sailed around New Zealand, and that was before the big debacle. And it was interesting watching people on the cruise ship, because there's a lot of old people on the cruise ship, and it looks like their life had been sucked out of them. And I certainly don't want to be a person when I get, you know, to that age to be just derelict and look like my life's been sucked out of me. And I certainly, for me, my cycling is my investment in myself, my insurance to help, you know, mean that I've got a really, you know, that I've got really good quality of life as I get older. So, and the reality is that, look, I'm generally interested in helping you out to get better on the bike and to have a fantastic lifestyle. So that's why I offer these webinars for free. No cost to you. So I'll just see if I got, so are you committed to being engaged? So the last thing I want to do is, this webinar's for you and about you. So I'm going to be talking about a whole lot of stuff, but it's important that you're committed to being engaged. So if you've got any questions, or you've got some comments about what I'm talking about, or you need some more information, just are you committed to being engaged? Because the last thing I'd want to do is for you to get to the end of this webinar and feel like you got nothing out of it. So give us a yes. Let me know that you're committed to being engaged, that you get, you know, that you spend this time wisely, and you maximize the amount of time. And I may not be able to answer all your questions today, but certainly if that's the case, you know, we can take it offline. So just give us a yes. Let me know that you're engaged. All right, fantastic. Now, the big disclaimer, all this information I'm talking about is provided in a general nature and obviously can't be substitute professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always seek advice from your physician or other qualified health providers with any questions you may have regarding medical conditions or training or anything related to that. And also, I'm going to be providing my own opinion based on the information that I have on hand. Obviously, this information changes as more information comes to light. So it may be relevant now, and it's my opinion, but you know, things may change. Obviously, I post stuff on our Facebook fan page, so if you've got the opportunity to go there, certainly if you're not a subscriber, certainly get online and subscribe to our Facebook fan page, because we've got fantastic stuff that's being posted there all the time. All right, okay, so let's get into the content, how to stay motivated when your events are being cancelled. Okay, so this is a case-by-case state, and I'll tell you what I'm doing working with my clients. I deal with it on a case-by-case basis, and of course, a lot of my clients, in fact, all of them have had their events cancelled. So we've been working with our clients to build out their seasonal planner, and this has been really pivotal, because what we need to do, and what I urge you to do, yep, fantastic, Martin, about your 003. What we've been doing is building out our clients' seasonal planner so that they've got something to work for in the future, because their events aren't there at the moment, and we want to keep them fit. And this is what I urge you to do, is keep yourself fit during these periods, because if you taper off or stop your training, it means that it's going to take you a lot longer to get back up to speed. And I certainly run into this issue many times in the last 12 years, because I've been running my business pants on fire, and I have dropped off my training. And of course, you know, I start ramping up around October when the weather starts getting better. And unfortunately, it's not until about March that I'm feeling like a real cyclist again. And it's taken me that long to get on top of my fitness. Now, of course, as I get older, it has become more and more critical that I maintain and keep my fitness at a decent level during these times of crises. So I urge you to keep your training up. and if that means stepping on the indoor trainer or going out, depending on the restrictions that are currently happening locally in your area. All right, so the other thing that I'm doing is scheduling in events, pseudo events, into my client's calendar. So at usually and we're doing it in the recovery weeks of their program, so that they can have something that they're working towards as well. So we've got an overall seasonal planner, and I urge you to put together a bit of a seasonal planner around what you want to do. And then from there, work out some events that you can do to replace the events that you have. Now, these could be online events. Swift are offering a stack load of stuff at the moment. There's like oodles of stuff that you can get sorted out. But I don't recommend that you ride these big major events all the time. I recommend that you do them in your recovery week, and I'll talk a little bit about that later on. Or you can create your own event. Maybe it's something that you do out on the road. You set aside a specific day if you've got access to being able to ride outside, and go for maybe a 3-hour ride where you try and hit a personal best on a particular course that you particularly like. All right, so that's what we're doing with our clients around helping them keep them motivated. So we're creating events for them, and we're building out our seasonal planner. Now we are targeting we're setting weekly training stress score figures, so TSS figures for the week, and that's a case by case with our clients. So there's no I get a lot of clients asking me what's the best sort of TSS for a week, and it really depends on where you are. So we do it by case by case. So some of our clients, it may be 250 TSS a week, some maybe 350, some maybe 450, some maybe 550, some maybe 650, some maybe 750. So those are the sort of targets that we're setting around those TSS, and we're setting specific TSS targets because it's the best way to measure overall training performance. All right. And training load. We also are monitoring chronic training load figures, CTL figures, that we've agreed on in the future. And when we build out our clients' plan, our seasonal plan, we have a target CTL, chronic training load target, that we want them to meet. And again, that's done at a case-by-case status. So, a lot of people ask me, what should I be targeting? And I go, well, it depends on where you are, with your training. So for some of our clients, we're targeting CTL levels of 65. Some of them we're targeting CTL levels of 85. Some of them we're targeting CTL levels of 100. So it depends on where you are and how much training you're doing around what sort of CTL level we want to target in the future. All right. And also when it comes to on the trainer itself, it's really important to chunk things down. So, with our clients, it's fantastic because they have a training program available to them. And if you're a client of ours, hopefully you're enjoying the regular consistency of the training program, and it just helps you get that into your routine and be nice and consistent and have that training available and don't really have to think about it. You just need to jump on your bike and do the session. So, but what we're doing with our clients around, the mentally challenging things around training on a trainer, especially if you're doing 2-hour sessions, is a little bit of advice that I give to my clients. The first one is chunk it down. So if you've got a 2-hour ride on a trainer, understanding that that's worth around about 3 or 4 hours out on the road because of the super efficiency of trainers. The first thing I let my clients know is that if you're on a trainer for anything longer than an hour, then I recommend that you jump off the bike after about an hour, maybe an hour 10, all right? And break it up and jump up, because this trainer is very mechanical. The position's very rigid, and there's no pausing for traffic lights or corners or descending down hills or anything like that on a trainer. It's just bang. All right. So, so if you are training on a home trainer, it's important to get off that home trainer. For me personally, and that's what I'm advising my clients, is to get off that home trainer every hour. All right, and just walk around, take a drink, grab a muesli bar from the kitchen, whatever, and then get back on it again. All right, so just at least chunk those sessions down. Now, sometimes it's mentally challenging to do a longer session on the trainer. So again, chunk it down. And that's a technique that I used to use when I was out bushwalking. I would chunk down the trip, and I use it when I'm out riding on longer rides as well. I'll section out my longer ride to sections. So I'll go, okay, well, the first section is to this particular point, and the next section is to that particular point, and the next section is to that particular point. So for example, when I was riding down to Sorrento, I'd get onto the road at Black Rock, and then I'd ride down to Frankston, first section. Then I'd ride down to Mount Eliza, second section. Then I'd ride to Rosebud, third section. Then I'd ride to Sorrento, fourth section. And then I'd just come back the same way, and I'd break it down to the sections. Again, the same sections, and I'd just tick them off as I went. And you can do that with your home training sessions as well. The other thing is to get yourself mentally sorted out for a session. If it's a big session and it's going to challenge you a bit mentally, just instead of going into it with the mental mindset of, oh, this is a big session and I'm going to really struggle through it, not a great space to be in. So what I want you to do is take a couple of deep breaths, and just before you do the session, and just realize how important that session is for you, what the reasons are for riding that session. Okay, and then get you mentally sorted out. Go, okay, well, I'm now prepared. This is going to be an awesome session. I'm going to get a lot out of it. It's going to add a lot of value to my training. It's going to add a lot of value to my performance. I'm motivated to do it. It's going to be a little bit challenging, but I can cope with it. Does that make sense? Give us some yeses if that one makes sense. Give us some yeses in the comments. All right, so those are some of the tips around helping with that motivation. Yep, all right, so I hope that has made some useful insights into it. All right, so give us some yeses. Let me know if this stuff is relevant. All right, I want to get some engagement. If you've got any questions, fantastic. Thanks, Alex. If you've got any questions, just let me know. Good. All right, okay. So this is one of the big things now that we're, a lot of us are training on home trainers at home. It's important to avoid compromising your immune system. Yeah, thanks, Lyndon. Surely does. All right. Okay, so how to manage the training load to avoid compromising your immune system. And this is really important. All right, and again, case by case. So the training load that I give one athlete is going to be different to the training load I give another athlete. And the training load that I would give you if you're not training with me would be different to the training load that I would give somebody else, because it's based on where you're at the moment. Understand that training one size doesn't fit all. It's got to be customized to you to get the best benefits. All right, so we are currently closely monitoring our clients' training stress balance score, the TSB score, and we're making sure that they don't go too negative. Now, the number that we target depends on the client. Now, for some of them, it might be -10. For some of them, it might be -15. For some of them, it might be -30. And for some of them, it might even be -35, and it depends on whether they're a male or a female. All right, because females are able to take bigger minus numbers for longer, and it depends on how much training they've done in the past and stuff. So we're monitoring that at the moment, and it's important if you are tracking your performance management chart in Training Peaks, you can get these numbers out of Training Peaks, and we've got a lot of clients that are working in Training Peaks, and I will just run up Training Peaks to give you an idea of the performance management chart. And I'm going to use myself as an example. This is going to be a little bit embarrassing because I've been working on a lot of stuff, so it'll give you an idea. All right, so I'll just bring this up and let's have a look at my annual training program. I haven't had a look at this at the moment. All right, so I'll just bring this up. So just to give you an idea of annual training programs, this is sort of where we're setting targets for our clients, all right, along the blue line here, and this is where I'm tracking. So you see that I'm tracking underneath the blue line, and it's kind of taken a bit of a hit. So I really need to readjust my figures, but I have been kind of maintaining my fitness through this period here. All right, this is 2019 anyway, so that's all right. It's last year stuff, so that's kind of cool. All right, so it gives you an indication of training load. So in fact, actually, this was, I can't even remember what I was training for, but the idea is that what you want to do is set up what your annual training program is going to be looking like, and then track along the blue line. So we get sort of weekly CTL and ATL targets. All right. So just around, I'll just go to the calendar view, and these are the numbers you want to monitor. All right. Make sure they don't go too negative. The TSB number, that's really important. Overall CTL is what we're building towards. And the fatigue numbers we also monitor as well. So those are really important. Yep. All right, Ian, I'll get to your question in a moment. So fantastic, great. If you've got any other questions, and Martin, I'll get to that. Great. Yep. Cool. All right. So that's really important to monitor those numbers. Training Peaks is a fantastic tool for doing that. You can also do, I think Strava kind of gives some rough sort of numbers around that. All right. So so that's really important. Now, the other thing that we've got to watch, we monitor is intensity factor in sessions. All right, so here's an intensity factor in a session targeted for a 0.85. I've done the session at 0.93, a little bit harder than expected. So it's important that we don't sort of back-to-back that up. This is the 2-hour Gran Fondo training program, training file that we've been using and rolling out to our clients. It's been fantastic. And the great thing about this is that it's varied, all right? So this is really important. Last thing you want to do is end up just basically smashing, and we're seeing a lot of people doing this on Swift, making this mistake on Swift, is that they get into a session and it's like they're riding at threshold for like serious long periods of time. Now, if you look at this session here, you'll see that my heart rate's going up and down, and that's what you want to see in your data when you're doing longer sessions. You'll see I'm jumping off the trainer for a couple of moments halfway. This is 30 minutes into the training session. I've jumped off the trainer I probably needed to go to the toilet or something. I'm getting old, right? So, but you see that my heart rate's varying all the way through. The last thing you want to do is take your heart rate up and then hold it there for like, 30 minutes, 40 minutes, 50 minutes, an hour. That's serious stuff, and we're seeing a lot of athletes being compromised by doing efforts like that as they get older, because they're starting to have cardiovascular disease. They've got issues with I'm just going to try and say this, I'm struggling with it, arrhythmia. Anyway, they're having issues with their heart rate, and that's the thing, cardiac disease, because they spent too much time riding at threshold for long periods of time. So don't fall into that trap. And I'm seeing a lot of clients and a lot of people on Swift that are just ramping up their heart rate and just holding it there for hours and hours and hours. So don't do that. All right. So, but just watch that. Okay. So I've talked about IF and watching out for extended lactate efforts. So I've just mentioned that as well. So it's commonly seen on training with Swift. So you want to vary it up and mix it up. All right. Okay. So the next thing is, what's training's working right now? Now I get a lot of questions. What do I do? Do I go maintenance? Do I do speed work? Do I do base work? Do I do strength work? All right. So what we're advising our clients at the moment is that we need to reduce the amount of speed work that we're doing, because speed work's developed quickly and lost quickly. And any speed work that you do now is not going to be any use to you in 3 months' time. Okay. I'll say that again. Any speed work that you do right now is not going to be any use to you in 3 months' time. All right, because speed work's developed quickly, it's lost quickly, and there's a ceiling to how much speed work that you're going to do. Right? So going out and smashing yourself doing high intensity training efforts at the moment is an absolute waste of time if you don't have any events in the next 3 months. Crazy. So don't do that. All right. So reduce the amount of speed work. Now, I'm not saying that you don't do any speed work. What I am saying is that you want to reduce the amount of speed work. All right. And there's a tendency, where a lot of people on Swift, they kind of get caught up in the whole thing that's happening. Every single ride, they're smashing themselves over, and it's not very healthy, and it's not going to help you long term. So what you really want to do is work on increasing your strength work, that's dropping your cadence on the bike, and improving your overall aerobic base building. So you can do that out on the road or on the trainer. We got stack loads of sessions to help you do that. Now, obviously, the training that you want to do is dependent on where you are at the moment and the outcome that you want. And it's, again, a case by case. So if you're training for criteriums next summer, the training you do now is going to be different to if you're doing recreational events. It's going to be training is going to be different if you're going to be doing mountain bike events. The training is going to be different if you're going to be doing Grand Fondos. The training is going to be different if you're going to be doing road racing. All right, so understand that not, one program, one size doesn't fit all. And just because you're doing training and you're training hard and you get off the trainer and you're smashed and you felt like you had a hard session, doesn't necessarily mean that that session is going to help you. All right, if it's the wrong session for you. And I've seen a lot of cyclists, and I continue to go over this again and again and again. It's one of the most common mistakes that cyclists do, is and I harp on about this all the time because it's so important, is that they jump themselves onto some training program they downloaded off the internet thinking that they're training, and yet the training that they're doing is actually not going to actually help them in what they want to do. They're doing a criterium or a high intensity training program that's based for criterium racing, thinking that it's going to help them for their recreational events, and those sort of things. So just understand that. So what we want to do is knock off the intensity, really focus on building your overall CTL. You want to either maintain it or improve your overall CTL in your training. Obviously, the trainer needs to be dependent on the end result, all right? And you want to increase your strength work and your aerobic-based training work, all right? Does that make sense? Give me some yeses if there's any of the stuff's making sense. All right. Okay, so I'm just going to go into some of the stuff that we've been doing on our website. All right, so we have been updating our product store. So I'll just open that up. I should have prepared this earlier, but I didn't, so it's okay. So I'm just going to run into, so if we go to our main website, we've just done a couple of updates to our website. So our store, we've just padded it out a little bit. So if you're interested in some of our training programs, we've got we've got our ebooks here. We've just updated our indoor training ebook. We have just released this yesterday. So this is version 3, updated with all relevant information about a whole lot of stuff around indoor trainers, smart trainers, training platforms, training software, and of course it's got 72 of our indoor training sessions that we use that basically make up our training programs. All right, so we've just updated that. We've got all our indoor training videos in here. If you're just looking at just our standard indoor training videos, they're available here. All right, so we've updated that and padded it out. We don't have too many event training programs in here, so these are our training programs that you can purchase, one-off training programs. All our this is discipline-specific training programs. All right, and then we have event-specific training programs. So I'll come on to that later on. But we've got 2 types of training programs: discipline and event. All right, so we've updated those. So they're all available there. So we've done some updates to the store. All right, now the Mind Downloads page. If you purchase anything from our Cycling Inform website, this is our online training center. All right, so there's 2 areas of it. For those people that are training with us, they get into this area. I'll come to this a little bit later on. For those people that have just purchased products from us, all right, My Downloads. Okay, we just updated the user interface to this. Just made it a little bit easier. For those people that have purchased products from us, we've just updated it. So our masterclasses are here, our events and discipline-specific training programs have been updated through here. All right, we've also indoor training videos are all available when you purchase them. The ebooks, we've just updated this ebook. If you purchase the old version 2.3 of the Complete Guide to Indoor Training, it's available here. We just updated the interface and the bonus material there. So we just made it a little bit streamlined. And then at the bottom, we've got the ability for you to join our Strava Club and our private Facebook members group. All right, so we just streamlined all of that. And we'll just go back to our online training center. So if you're training with us, it's a bit different. All right, so this is the interface for when you're training with us, the indoor training videos, your training programs, off the bike strength training, our community, our masterclasses, and we've added our ebooks. Now, the big the big enhancement we made to this is that if you've purchased any products here, they will now display in your training program. So if you've purchased a one-off training program, and you're currently not working, you know, it'll actually come up in the online training center along with the current training program that you're working on. So these are our current training programs. And again, we've got discipline specific and also event specific. So, you know, we've got thousands of indoor training videos here. We've also updated the interface with these. So now it's all the same format. Before there was a little bit of a mixture of formats, so now stakeholder buy-in document, the training programs are released every week, and then the resources. So we've updated everything, so it's all nice and consistent now. Jodie, my wife's done a fantastic job on all of that. All right, so we've done updates there. We have updated our Training Peaks training programs. So in Training Peaks, if you're on Training Peaks, we have, and you want either purchase one of our training programs, or you're in our members area and you're training with our coaching on training programs, we have updated all of our training programs. And Jodie's gone through, she's actually spent the last 6 months doing this and she's just finished it. So she's very thankful because it's been a huge job. So all the indoor training videos have been updated. Everything's been updated. We can load this straight into your account now, the off the bike strength training. And the great thing is that, you know, the links to the videos are here for these indoor training sessions. The training files, you can download the training files and load them up into your training platform. So it's great, and this will come up on your mobile device. So we've updated all of those as well. Jodie's done an awesome job on that. Added previous and current purchases. Yep, I've mentioned that. Oh. And we've also added an on-demand webinar. Now, I'll just see if I can find the link to it. I don't think it's currently on our page. I think we have I will get the link to it now. Give us a moment. So what we've done is that you can subscribe and run one of our indoor training sessions online. So I'll show you how this works. I'll send you a link to this. So this is just for a limited time only. We're streaming for free our 003 Fruit Bowl indoor training session. So you just need to click here and register. This is online and available to you right now. You just select when you want to do it, 7 p.m. at night. I'm in Adelaide. Oh, this is my test account. Register for the event. It'll give you a link, and then this is when it's available, you just basically run the session, obviously. And what will happen is that I'll just go into the direct link to this. And when the time comes around, you enter the room and you can watch me basically run through this training session. Here we go. All right, and this is the training session here. And if you want the training files, I'm just listening. I'll just pause that for the moment. Can't stop it. Anyway, all right. So that's available to you right now. You can basically run to one of our training sessions. And we're also offering more one-on-one client calls with our clients, and we're running Swift's training sessions in conjunction with Leotap Australia. So lots of stuff happening. What's coming up? Look, I'll briefly run through this because I want to get into the questions and answers, and I don't want to bore you too much with any of this, with more of the stuff. But basically, we're updating the training videos. All our free articles are being updated at the moment. Hopefully my webinar jam session's still going. Yep, have I dropped out? I just wanted to check. Haven't closed down that session, have I? Oh, yep, no, sorry, I'm still here. All right, fix is one of my favorite. God, I thought I'd closed down the webinar session. So what's coming up? All right, so we're updating the remaining indoor training videos here. Yeah, it's still here. Oh, God, I just had a moment there. All our free articles on our website are having a big refresh. Jodie's going through them at the moment. There's probably about another 3 months worth of work there. Got more improvements coming to our online training centre. We're going to be taking enrolments for our Leaner Cyclist online workshop soon. So if you're interested in losing weight, getting your weight sorted out, it's been a hugely successful Leaner Cyclist program. It's been amazing. We've had some awesome results, amazing, awesome results of our clients with it. So if you're one of those people that need or want to lose your weight and really shift it and get yourself sorted out on the bike with your weight management, we're going to be taking enrollments for that soon. So let me know if you're interested in that. We're releasing a brand new program called the Unstoppable Cyclist. Now this program is a brand new program, and it's all about having major breakthroughs with your cycling. Now I'm not talking about little shifts in your training. I'm talking about major breakthroughs, and it's really for anybody that has struggled with motivation in the past, anybody that has struggled with their performance, anybody that's plateaued with their performance and not getting any results, and anybody that really wants to have a massive breakthrough with their cycling. We're putting together a program for the Unstoppable Cyclist. Thanks, Alex. Leaner Cyclist program is awesome. All right, so the Unstoppable Cyclist is a brand new program. It's going to be an amazing program for people that really want to get ahead with their cycling and really become unstoppable with their motivation around their training. We talk about, and we spend a lot of time working on your goals. We talk a lot of times talking about your purpose with your riding and getting that all locked down. And then we start working through your training program. There'll be coaching involved in it. We'll have coaching available with it as well. And it's going to be an amazing workshop event that we're going to be workshopping live through, and we haven't figured out exactly how many weeks it's going to be, but it's just going to be an amazing program. So that's coming up. The planning is going super well for our Epic Tour in Europe next year with Sierra Sports and Tours. The Epic Bucket List Tour is just going to be amazing. We're really excited about it. Boy, Paul's put together an amazing itinerary for it. There's 14 days in France, riding the epic cols and mountains over there, and then we're going to spend a couple of days in Venice, and then we're going to go spend another 14 days in Spain, riding in Italy, riding the amazing Alps there. So everything you've seen on the Tour de France, we're going to be riding a lot of those epic climbs. It's going to be incredible. Now, hopefully Europe will be unlocked by then. We'll be able to travel over there. But those people that are interested in that, let me know, because it's going to be awesome, awesome, awesome. All right. We are also offering more free one-on-one coaching calls. So I'll be sending an email link with all of the links to a lot of the stuff I've talked about today. Yep. Fantastic, Mike. Yep. Need to try it again. Mike, I'll tell you a little secret. For those people that have done the Leaner Cyclist program, we're going to invite you back to do the next round of Leaner Cyclist, because it'll be a massive refresh for you. So if you're interested in that, let me know. Yep. Yeah, I know. Martin, greetings to you. Yep. Europe could be dependent on Australia opening borders, I know. Anyway, we're hoping. Look, Australia's doing super well. Australia is doing really well. Here in South Australia, no new cases in the last week. All right. So we are expecting the government, local government, to start releasing restrictions. Obviously, border will be different, but locally within Australia, South Australia, we will hopefully see the government releasing or reducing restrictions. New Zealand's just started it this week, all right, which is fantastic. So I think the Australian government's looking a little bit about what New Zealand's doing and how they're going with it, and I'll use that as feedback into how they're going to roll out, our unlocking here in Australia. I'm catching up with clients in New York, and they're just in a world of pain at the moment. So it's going to be a long time before New York gets itself sorted out. But certainly here in Australia, we're getting some good stuff happening. There's certainly some traction happening in Europe at the moment. So we're hoping by this time next year, things will be back to a lot more normality. But yeah, but we don't know. So, but we're still planning ahead with our epic trip to Europe. We're really excited about it. And if we can't run it next year, we'll certainly be running it the following year. Absolutely. All right. So offering more free one-on-one coaching calls. If you want a coaching call with me, I am offering coaching calls for 30 minutes for free to work through where you're at with your training. So if you're interested in that, I'll be sending a link out after this email. You can click on the link, and it's pretty simple, really. I'll show you how it works. I'll get this link. I'll just bring it up. Give us a moment. All right, simple interface. I'll send you this link. What you're going to do is basically find out when I'm available. Make sure you got your time zone set, all right? And then you can just book in a session with me, all right? And I've got appointments available. I'm kind of getting pretty full for this coming Monday, but I've got places available on the 11th. All right, so, and then finally, what's coming up? All right, and last thing, and then we'll get into the questions and answers, putting together a special VIP coaching program for corporate execs and entrepreneurs. All right, so if you're an entrepreneur doing more than $1 million turnover a year, we want to talk to you about what you want to do with your training and your cycling journey. We want to be part of that and helping along with that. So it's going to be a special VIP coaching program for corporate execs, for the Cs, CIOs, CSOs, CFOs, and entrepreneurs doing more than $1 million. All right, we're putting together a real special group for you. It's going to be an epic program. We want your input for it. So watch out for the email about that if you're in that realm. All right, so let's get into the questions. Hope that was interesting. We'll go through the questions now. If you've got any more questions, let me know. We're tracking along quite nicely with time. All right, so let's scroll back and I'll just have a look at your, yep, it's Kevin. It's wet in here in Adelaide. All right, so boy, it's been wet for a couple of days. Okay, so, right, so stay safe. Yep, cool. All right, so let's get into these questions. It's good to hear that it's all working okay. So Martin's just mentioned he's been using 003 video during the wet weather here in Gippsland. Fantastic. That's awesome, Martin. Obviously, if you want to stream it live, for those people that want to get access to that 003, you can stream it live. I just showed you how to do that. I'll send you the email with a link where you can enroll and you can run it up pretty much straight away, or you can schedule it in. All right. So thanks, Lyndon, for your comments about stopping on the trainer. That's awesome. Yep. Martin's mentioned chunking down everything in life works a treat. Certainly does. Very important to chunk things down. And that's what we do with our clients. Here's where they are. Here's where they want to go. Put together a plan on chunking it down, monthly, weekly, daily goals. Simple. All right. Okay. So does this apply across all age spectrums? Steve, don't know particularly what you're mentioning around that. So let me know what you mentioned around does this apply across all age spectrums. All right. Okay, seems to find my indoor sessions are just out of reach. Okay, so John's mentioned he's seeming to find his indoor training sessions are out of reach. John, let's take that offline. I recommend that send me an email through our support ticketing system, ask to have a 30-minute session with me, and we'll work through that with you. All right. Okay, so Mike's saying that is irrelevant around getting off the bike and chunking things down is very relevant to him. Okay, so so Martin's asked, is TSB a better guide than TSBR percentage? All right, so we use TSB. We find that that's a really good metrics. I don't have any issues with TSB. It works really super well for us. So is it any better? Look, they're different measurements, but I think TSB is absolutely fine. It's what we use. Okay, so Ian's asked the question, what about age? Say over 65, how does that affect training load? Yeah, it does affect training load, Ian. It's especially around how we schedule in the session. So, for example, we'll generally, for 65-year-olds, we may not necessarily have so many back-to-back harder sessions. We'll break it up a bit more, put in more recovery between sessions, and we'll certainly monitor how things are going, especially when you're working with me. But it's very important to break your training up and have more recovery. All right. So you may find that you'll do, whereas when you're younger, you could do a couple of hard sessions, one day after the other. It's important as you get older to put a recovery day or a rest day in between that. Generally, if you do a lot of riding the weekend, say Saturday and Sunday, then Monday is usually a rest day. All right. Full recovery. Okay. Or for some of our other clients, we'll put in a light training ride, okay? But it really depends on the training load that you've currently got at the moment, and it really needs to be done case by case because everybody's different. There's no one size fits all. So, if you're if you've been a seasoned rider, been riding for years, obviously the training load and the way that we structure the program and the way that you want to, how it affects you from a training load point of view will be based around, your previous history in cycling. If you're fairly new to cycling, then obviously it's going to be a lot different. Okay, so I hope that answers your question. Sorry, I can't be more specific, but look, Ian, if you're not currently one of our clients, or if you want to take that offline, certainly by all means you can book in a 30-minute call with me, and we can go through that. So use that link to your, I'm offering that right now. In these times of crisis, a lot more opportunity for people to catch up with me. So if you want to book in a session with me, I will set up, I'll actually give you a link to that right now in this. So I'll put this link in the chat. All right. So here's a link for setting up a meeting with me. If you're interested in doing that. All right. Where's my little slideshow? Question time. Great. All right. So totally. Okay. Right training for riding. Okay. I'm not too sure what's great advice. Yeah. Fantastic. All right. Just want to hold speed. Yeah. Okay. Yep. I just want to hold speed for resumed group rides and not get dropped. Martin, it's amazing what you can do. Here's the thing about, you can top up your speed work at any time. That's the great thing about speed work. But, if you work on your aerobic base and your strength, you build a bigger engine. And here's the thing about speed work. And I kind of liken the story. If you add nitro to a car, and for those people that have heard this, they understand it. If you add nitro to a car, it goes faster. And if you take nitro away from the car, you're left with the same car. Now, that's what speed work's like. So whatever engine you've got, whatever car you've got, whatever fitness you've got, when you add speed work to it, you go faster. When you take the speed work away, you go slower. The two issues with speed work is that you can't do speed work all the time. There's also a ceiling, just like when you add nitro to a car. If you add more nitro to a car, I don't know whether that's actually true or not, but just imagine when you add more nitro to a car, there's a ceiling to how much faster that car is going to go before it blows up, right? And it's the same with speed work. You can only add so much speed work to you before you start either plateauing or going backwards, all right? So the great thing about working on your aerobic base and strength is that aerobic base and strength is developed slowly and lost slowly. And what that does is build a bigger engine. All right, and that's really important to understand, that it builds a bigger engine. So you end up training your Toyota Echo in for something a lot bigger, all right, something with, you know, a 3-litre engine, as opposed to a, I don't know what Echos are, 1.2. They might be 1.6, I don't know. But the thing is that by doing aerobic-based training and strength training, you actually build a bigger engine, all right? So it's a volume of training. And it's interesting because people talk about junk kilometers, and I really haven't seen it in people's data. When we add like a 1-hour recovery ride as a double session to our clients' programs, they get an amazing lift in their performance without any speed work, all right? Just because they're doing just a little bit more volume, all right? So just understand that. All right, okay. What does an ideal weight look like? BMI, N. Okay, good question. We have our Leaner Cyclist calculator. So I'm just going to search for it. Leaner Cyclist calculator. All right. Ideal minimum. We've had this available to everybody for the last 3 years. It's been very popular. It's super important that you put the right numbers in. All right. I get a few people emailing back saying your calculator is crap. And when I look at their data, it's like they've made an error in the numbers that they put in. Like they put in, for example, some people get a bit confused when they put in the value for their waist. They put in 32, right? Instead of what it should be, 78 or whatever it is, what their waist is. So if you're dealing in metric, make sure you're putting centimeters in here, all right? So I just want to put that disclaimer out there. But this will basically, once you complete it, it will email what your ideal weight is based on current country recommendations for ideal weight for the general population. It'll also work out what your absolute minimum is, all right? And there's some big caveats around that. So I explain that in the email that I send you. And generally, athletes, cyclists will fall somewhere between the ideal and the absolute minimum, all right? Body fat percentage and weights. It's reasonably accurate. There are some people that fall outside of the bell curve, but it's fantastic. And there's for female, we just need to get a hips measurement as well. But for males, we don't need that measurement. It's based on a formula that's been released by and developed for the Navy in America years ago. And it's reasonably accurate for working out at least a guideline around what your absolute, what your ideal and your absolute minimum weight is. All right. So I hope that answers your question. I'll put that link in the email here. All right, as well. So there it is there to get access to this calculator. It's fantastic. All right, so I hope that answers your question, Ian. Okay, Mike said he's lost 5 to 6. I'll just come back to my slides here. Martin, getting to Europe. Yep. John, back to keto. Fantastic. All right. Link would be great. Yeah. Sierra Sports and Tours for non-cycling partners. John, yes, Sierra Sports and Tours do allow non-cycling partners to come along and enjoy the camp. So it's fantastic. We've had non-cycling partners come along, and it's been awesome. You know, it's a great way to see Europe. And you know, to enjoy the experience with you. Now there's a couple of ways that you can go with that. You can basically fly into, because we start in France, you can fly into where I'm not sure where we're flying into, and you can drop your partner off in Paris with a credit card and leave them for a couple of weeks, and they can just go off and do their own thing, or they can come along and be part of the journey, which is amazing. And the great thing about Sierra Sports and Tours is that there's events that we have in the evening. So it's not just about riding. And when we've done trips in Spain, we've gone to bull rings, and we've done evenings where there's been, what's that dancing that they have in Spain? I can't remember. My mind's a blank. Is it flamingo? is it flamingo dancing? Anyway, so there's all sorts of stuff that happens in the evenings as well that you can get involved in. It's great for partners too. So it's awesome. All right. Annual training plan for event over a year away. Yep, John, excellent. All right. So that was what you're asking about down here. John seems to be, does this apply? No, John. All right, now I've got that out of context. Not too sure, John. Looks like I've lost the context of your question around annual plan for events over a year away. All right. Lyndon's saying the Leotap Zwift training rides have been great. Thanks for doing them. You're welcome, Lyndon. I'm glad you've been enjoying them. If you've got any friends, invite them along. All you need to do to get along to that is on Zwift. You just need to find me in Zwift, David Heatley Cycling Inform, and just become my friend in Zwift. I don't know what you have to do that. Usually in the companion app, if you search, I assume, or if you go into Zwift and search for me. And I invite all the people that are friends of me in Zwift to these Zwift sessions. All right, so we're running them Tuesdays and Thursdays, Tuesday mornings and Thursday evenings. And we're actually running through a modified version of one of our indoor training sessions. And we actually spend a lot of time working on technique. And we actually run through the intervals properly. And we spend a lot of time working on cadence. All right. Okay. I sent pre-webinar questions similar to Ian's, but I've stepped up my sessions. All right. So I've got those links. Nathan's asked the question, does the Leaner Cyclist plans prescribe a different cycling training plan to cope with potential fluctuations in energy levels until the body accumulates to the new diet? Nathan, absolutely. It wouldn't be a Leaner Cyclist program without that. So there's three main areas for the Leaner Cyclist program. The first one is that we need to get your head sorted out for the preparation involved in getting you ready for the change to lose weight. All right? Because the problem with a lot of people is that if they're not mentally ready for it, when they start losing weight, they'll lose weight and then they'll go back to their old habits. So what we want to do, and I knew that when I put together the program that it was critically important that we wanted to make this a big lifestyle change for people, that they transition into a more healthier lifestyle. All right, and that had to do with dealing with a lot that was going on in their heads. All right, and that's really important because if we don't sort that out, they go into a program, they lose weight, and then they go back to their old habits. They put the weight back on. Sometimes they put on more weight, and we haven't solved the problem. So we need to get into the root cause. We don't get too airy-fairy or woo-woo about it, but we need to start, and we use a lot of proper science around it, around dealing with change and change management. A lot of stuff's come out of the corporate businesses around change management. We've applied that to the Lean Cyclist program to help get you into a space where you not only lose weight, but you're able to keep it off. So we deal with that. We deal with the training programs associated with losing weight. We generally like our clients to work on one thing at a time. So lose weight, maintain fitness, build fitness, maintain weight. All right. So that makes sense, but sometimes, and in a lot of cases of the Lean Cyclist program, we kind of sneakily, we're able to work on both, lose weight and build fitness, all right? But definitely it's critically important. And the other key component to it is obviously the dietary plans that we have as part of the Lean Cyclist program that are geared in. And a lot of problems with current programs out there around diet plans is that they're not geared up for cyclists because of that most important thing is that cyclists have these energy demands that they need to accommodate for, and most dietary plans are designed for the general average person. All right, so if you look around the office, not that we're working in the office at the moment, but if you look around your workspace and look around at the people, you know, they're not doing as much exercise as you, right? And therefore their dietary requirements are different to you. So we've had to take that into account. The problem is that mainstream diets are based on those people in your office, not you. All right, so that's critically important. So yeah. All right, okay, cool. All right, Training Peaks annual training plan. Okay. So John, maybe we need to take that offline. Just book in an appointment, see me, and we can get that sorted out for you. All right, Martin's just made the comment. My wife allows me to ride overseas, but she goes shopping and I get to carry the heavier, the heavier cases my training. Beautiful. That's fantastic. I'm glad you've got that arrangement sorted out. Kevin left, Leah tapped Swiss rides. I was playing around yesterday, found if I go back into the pairing session and unpair the controllable trainer, it's a lot easier to maintain the required cadences. Pairing section, unpair the controllable trainer. Okay, all right, well, that's interesting, Kevin. Yeah, look, there's a whole lot of stuff around Swift, and it's an interesting platform. I actually like the algorithm that Trainer Road has around how it manages your training load. Just a personal opinion. Swift's obviously great for keeping yourself entertained and riding with groups, and it's great at the moment. It's awesome, but obviously, make sure that you don't make the same mistakes that a lot of people make when they're training out on the road, is they just go out and smash themselves. No structure, no consistency. They kind of rock up and do whatever's going on, and as a consequence, it's fantastic. And if you enjoy doing that, that's cool. But the reality is that you can use that time a lot more effectively and get some amazing results with your cycle training. So it's really dependent on what you want to get, and I'm all for any platform or anything that allows people to spend more time getting fitter, because at the end of the day, our society more than ever needs more fit people. Like, seriously, we are, we think the coronavirus is bad. Like, you should see, I talk to doctors, and type 2 diabetes, epidemic proportions, way more than what we're going to see from deaths from coronavirus and those sort of things. So there's lots of stuff that we need to sort out in our society, and really that's part of what I'm here for. So anyway, look, I've rabbited on for a while. It's almost coming up to the hour. Yep, okay, Alex has mentioned, I find my power meter is more accurate than a controllable on Swift 2. Yep, so I always, now that I've got a power meter on my bike finally, the big story about that, I won't go into it. But when I'm out on the road, I've got my Dura-Ace power cranks measuring power. When I'm on my home trainer, Dura-Ace power cranks are measuring my power and managing the control and managing my not my Kurt Kinetic, my Wahoo kicker. I've got the first generation Wahoo kicker. They use strain gauges, and the power curve on it just drifts all over the place depending on how hot the room is and how hot the trainer is. So as it warms up, the power shift will drift to 30 watts. The new Wahoo kickers don't suffer from that problem anymore because they use the magnetic field in the trainer rather than the strain gauges. But yeah, I always connect my power meter to whatever training platform I'm using, rather than relying on my trainer to give me power, or in your particular case, doing the well, it's a controllable trainer, or if you've got the virtual training, not so accurate. But anyway, look, it's been fantastic. Thanks for spending the time today. I hope you've learned a lot out of it. It's been awesome. I'll send an email out to everybody that attends the webinar that with some of those links that I've mentioned today. Don't forget, if you want a coaching call with me, free coaching call for 30 minutes, book in. Be great to chat with you. And if you want to join us on Swift, certainly just find me on Swift and I'll invite you along to those sessions. If you're interested in any of the stuff that we talked about today around the epic trip overseas, Lean a Cyclist, and the VIP program, let me know. Just raise a support ticket, contact us, or reply to most of the emails that I send out to you, and we can go from there. And keep it safe. Keep riding awesomely well. Keep that training up, and certainly come back stronger when all this craziness ends. Take care. We'll see you soon.